listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us today. I am Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're going to be talking about loss. We've all gone through it, whether we've lost a loved one, we've gone through a breakup, we've lost a pet, you name it. But the thing is how do we stay strong when we're grieving? How do we get past the pain and really celebrate the life of the other person? How do we move forward? That's what we're going to be focusing on today. And I'll be taking your calls. That number is 800-333-0001. So feel free to call in. I'm standing by. Also, we're going to be having an inspirational guest in our next segment. You don't want to miss her story. It's Amy Biancali. She actually had 3 losses in her life. Suicide, heartbreak from a romance, you name it. And the thing is how did she overcome that? How did she find who she was on the inside in her efforts to live full out? Also, in today's show, if you have, questions, you need resources, you want to reach out to us, go to connect@livingfullout.com. We'd really enjoy hearing from you and make sure that you're supported. Also, if you have an inspirational story, we'd like to perhaps have you on as a guest. Go ahead and reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com and let us know what you've overcome in your life. Now, I'm getting word from our producer that we do have a caller on the line. I'm going to go say hello to them. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Oh, hi there, Nancy. I have a question. I have 5 grandchildren, and they live in another state. And I was just wondering if you had any ideas of how I could reach out to them and connect with them more often.
Great question. What is the approximate age group of these 5 kids? Are they all children? Are they teenagers? Young adults?
No, they're children from almost 2 years up to 11 years.
Got it. Okay. So here's the thing. Each child you want to develop a relationship with individually. And perhaps the next time you're with them, have a moment. Life is about having moments. So maybe it's something silly that the two of you have, like an inside joke. Maybe it's something an activity that you do with each of them when you're out there separately. And when you have a moment, it can be a phrase, it can be a memory, whatever that is, so that when you talk to them on the phone, you can recall that, almost like an inside joke, a little special moment that the two of you have. I know in my life, my mom and I, when I was younger, we actually saw this movie. The movie was a little bit abstract. It was called Indecent Proposal. It was a good movie, but in that movie, there was a phrase where one person said to another, "Have I ever told you I love you?" The other person said, "Still?" And the other person says, "Forever." And I can turn to my mom and I can say, "Have I ever told you I love you?" She'll say, "Still?" And I'll say, "Forever." And it was just that movie line that stood out. And we, to this day, one of us will say the first word, the other takes the second word. And it's a moment that we had. So you want to consider with these 5 grandchildren, what type of moments can you build with them? Again, maybe it's a favorite video that you share with them and you watch with them and you find a moment within that video that you can reflect on together. Maybe take them to lunch, take them shopping, find out what they'd like so that later on you can reflect back saying, "Oh my gosh, remember when we went shopping and we did that together?" If you can do that, I know you will build strong relationships. Is that something you can do?
Yes, that's a great idea. And I'm going to see them soon, so that's perfect. Thank you.
You got it. Well, we'll be thinking of you, and thank you so much for calling in.
Oh, thank you, Nancy.
Have a great day. Thank you. I love that she called in about that question because she doesn't want to lose time with those grandchildren. She doesn't want them to turn around and say, who are you, right? I think that's the worst fear of every grandparent or, even when we don't spend time with people that we're friends with, we don't want people to forget us. We don't want people to lose that time. So I'm getting word from our producer that we have another caller in the line. We'll go say hello to them. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hello, I'm Andrew.
Hi, Andrew. Thank you for calling in. How can we help you today?
Well, my question was, I'm a full-time student, and then I'm also going to work, and it's a little stressful to be able to find time and focus on homework and get good grades and still be productive at work.
So what are you trying to figure out how to balance that, or where's your struggle?
I guess how to deal with just the stress of having to deal with like upper division classes and getting good grades.
Mm-hmm. You know what, Andrew? I'm so glad that you called in about this question, and I want you to do something for me today. At some point today, next time you're in a restroom, I want you to look at yourself in the mirror, and it's okay to do this by yourself, but I want you to just take a minute or so, and I want you to tell yourself what you're most proud of when it comes to the work aspect, being a good employee, efficient worker, all the things that you do really well. And then I also want you to applaud yourself for the good efforts that you do as a student. Because what I know is that when we're overextended, full-time at a job, full-time at school, taking care of a family, right? It's so easy to get burnt out. It's so easy to feel like we're on this hamster wheel that we can't get off of. Do you ever feel that way? One day rolls into the next, right?
Yeah.
And this is the Living Full Out Show. And what we focus on here is making sure that you get off that hamster wheel every now and then, and that you reflect, that you appreciate. And I'm not saying that you don't do that, but I think in this moment today, you want to look in that mirror and be your best friend and really give yourself the accolades that you deserve, because you might not be being told that by your boss. Professors might not come up to you all the time and cheer you on. So you sometimes have to cheer yourself on. What's going to happen, though, is when you kind of have that chat with yourself and you find out all these great things that you do well, okay? It's going to lighten the mood. And what you really need to do is lighten the mood within yourself. And all these expectations, all these balls that you have in the air that you're afraid that you're going to drop, you have to push those aside and say, you know what? I am doing my best. And I'm going to go to sleep tonight. I'm going to sleep well. Tomorrow I'm going to wake up and I'm going to do my best again. Just be a little bit more good to yourself. Is that something you can do?
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah. But, the thing is, it all starts with you. All these people in your life, your boss, professors, friends, everybody they're supporting characters. You're the main character in your story. So that's why, unfortunately, the stresses are never going to go away. In fact, they're probably going to keep on layering on. But you are the one that can diffuse it. You are the one that can take a moment that seems stressful and find a way to laugh about it. Okay?
Okay.
All right. I believe in you, and I want you to believe in you. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for calling in.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome. I really appreciate that. Andrew there called in about that question, because the thing is, we've all been there, right? We've felt extended. We don't want to let people down. But gosh, if we keep giving and giving and giving, but we never allow ourselves to have a deposit within our own body, positive affirmations, sleeping in, treating ourselves to something like a splurgy food or a massage. Sometimes we need that just to feel rejuvenated again and to feel like we're rewarding ourselves. And as we talk about loss today, we really want to look back at, as these losses happen in our life, again, a loved one passes away, a breakup occurs, a loss of a job. Rather than looking at that loss like something was taken from us, you want to look at that time that you had with that person, the time that you worked at that job, and see how it made you a better person, how it evolved you to where you are today. When I think about my dad passed away about 7 years ago, and that was so hard. There were so many things I wish I had said to him because I was a product of a divorce. And while I can't go back and have those conversations with him, I know that I can reflect on who he made me as a woman, as his child, and I can celebrate the moments we had together. So I choose to focus on the positive, not the negative, the wish I coulds, the woulda, shoulda, wouldas, right? All of that. You want to focus on what you can control. So stay with us. We're going to continue the conversation about loss. Coming up is our inspirational guest, Amy B. and Carole. You don't want to miss it. Today, we're talking about loss and how you can stay strong even during times of hardship. I am Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. Stay with us. It's all about living your life full out.
Dad, this is fun. I didn't think I liked kayaking.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, but I think it's time to head back in.
Okay. Can we come back?
Sure.
Tomorrow?
Let's check with Mom. Hey, be careful getting out of the boat.
It's a kayak, Dad.
I'm going to return the kayak. Just make sure you have everything.
Yep. Can we walk home?
How about a taxi? 233 North Maple, please.
It's a short fare from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Also, find fun activities to do like boating and biking or camping and hiking, plus much more. It's all right in your naturehood.
Best day ever.
A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
Don't you wish that getting your child to eat right, move more, and spend less time in front of a screen could be as easy as pushing a button? It might not be that simple, but you do have more power than you know. And you can maximize that power with proven strategies, tips, and tools from the National Institutes of Health's We Can, or Ways to Enhance Children's Activity and Nutrition program. We Can offers all kinds of resources, including fun recipes and activities the family can do together to show you the way to live a healthier lifestyle. We're not saying it's easy. We are saying that it can be done. Take the first step today. Call 1-866-359-3226 for a free We Can Parents Handbook. And be sure to visit the We Can website at wecan.nhlbi.nih.gov for free information too. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Today, my new dad and I shot off a rocket in the park.
Today, my new son and I failed to shoot off a rocket.
He knew exactly what to do.
I had no clue what I was doing.
We set up the rocket.
Hit ignition.
And then
nothing. Sometimes I laugh when I'm frustrated.
Then out of nowhere, the rocket launched into the air.
The rocket did get into the air.
I've never seen anything fly so high.
And then crashed into a kite. Look out! And then the pond.
I'll never forget that day.
I'll never forget that day, even if I tried.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. With Nancy's expertise, you'll learn how to embrace your potential and strive for success. If you have a question or need further support, send us an email at connect@livingfullout.com. Now, here's Nancy.
Hello, and thank you for joining us today. I am Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about loss and how do we navigate those waters? How do we find our place from despair, hopelessness, to feeling as though we can go on, that we found our strength within us to go forward. Our inspirational guest today, Amy Biancali, is the perfect guest to speak on this topic, and I'd like to welcome her to the show. Amy, hello, welcome.
Hi, Nancy. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And Amy, I didn't want to give your whole story away because when I say that you are really an expert when it comes to loss, you didn't sign up for it, but it just kind of came your way. It's really been a cycle of loss throughout your life. And the fact that you could just make that gasp of a giggle now just speaks so much to who you are, because you really needed humor to get through.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. Well, you know, a lot of people I know who've suffered a great deal of loss, they have the ability to laugh at themselves in the darkness. And I think it's a lifesaver. I really do. And I you know, sometimes, you know, when I heard myself laugh when you said that. I'm like, oh, there I go. I'm being, you know, indulging in black humor again, or I'm recognizing it. But I think, and I worry sometimes that it might shock people, but I think you have to see the humor in things, or you're just sort of, or I have to see the humor in things, or I'm lost.
Well, I think you serve as a great. Yeah, I think you serve as a great example on that one, because the thing is you have to break that cycle of negative energy with that gasp of a laugh sometimes. Otherwise, we could just all go down feeling sad and depressed and heavy, you know, so you have to lighten the mood.
Yeah, I could tell a lot of stories. I could go on. We could spend a whole segment on black humor as it relates to the various losses in my life, but I don't think you need to.
You're funny.
The whole litany of them.
Well, let's take our audience back just a bit, because really the first loss that came your way was around 10 years old when your father attempted suicide. And, you know, a 10-year-old is just meant to play and have fun, not have to deal with such heavy issues. But I know your mom really was a guiding light during that time in letting you know that it wasn't your fault. Can you share with us about that? Yeah,
she actually said those words exactly. She framed it exactly the way it needed to be framed. And I mean, if I appreciated it at the time, I wasn't aware of it. But as I got older, I became more and more appreciative. She actually said to me and my sister, this wasn't your fault. It's not because your father didn't love you. It was nothing you did. It wasn't your fault. And I think that's a huge message to hear when you're dealing with that kind of a trauma, to say, okay, I might feel guilty, because it's inevitable that you do feel guilty. I think that's just part of the human response. But rationally, I can latch onto this notion that it really wasn't my fault.
It was a helpful mantra to get you through that hard time. And I know it wasn't, you know, too many years later that your sister attempted suicide, and then eventually she was able to succeed in her desires to take her life. And how did losing Lucy affect your life?
Oh gosh. Well, as a friend of mine framed it at the time, she said, I thought this was really wise. She says, I understand what it means to be shocked but not surprised. And the thing is, Lucy had been sick for a long time. I was then 28. She was 31. The previous decade, at least, she had really, really been struggling with complex psychological and neurological issues, challenges, suicidality and depression, but also something called temporal lobe epilepsy that had extraordinary affective seizures that they did all sorts of things, like gave her hallucinations and everything. So she really struggled. She fought to stay alive. She didn't want to die, but she did make an attempt a couple years earlier before she actually took her own life. And so, I mean, I wasn't surprised, but it was a massive loss, and she was an extraordinary gift in my life. And it was really disorienting. I mean, I had just gotten married less than a year earlier, so I had already kind of embarked on what I thought was going to be. You don't know going into it what your life is going to be, but when you get married, that's a pretty big chapter, you're entering into. And then Lucy died, as I said, I think it was 9 or 10 months later, and I was blown away. I mean, even though I knew it could happen, and she and I had talked about it happening, and she had made an attempt, so I knew it, but it's a reality that you can't really wrap your head around until it hits you.
Right. And I know that, unfortunately, it wasn't too much longer, years later, but your husband took his life.
Yeah.
And, at that point, was that another loss that you were expecting?
No, not at all. My husband, I've said this before, and I can think of no better way of saying it. He was the sanest man I'd ever known until he wasn't. And that's about the gist of it. I mean, he had a 6-month spiral of anxiety, sleeplessness. It started with insomnia, which led to anxiety and depression, which spiraled into worse insomnia. And nothing helped. Nothing he tried helped. The Ambien kept him awake at night. And so I knew, I saw him over the course of those 6 months he was changing. I mean, he wasn't his usual self. He wasn't his well self. And so it was startling and dismaying to see. So when he finally did take his own life, I knew he wasn't. People talk about suicide as a choice, but it comes from such a place of such darkness that it's really not a choice. It's an action from a place of darkness, and so I knew it wasn't something that he chose. I knew it was something that he did in this altered state.
Well, that's so interesting because you loved, obviously, your husband, your sister, your father, but you loved them through this transition, this choice that each of them made. You didn't judge them, which I think is so amazing.
No. Well, the thing that was interesting with my father is that he did live. I mean, he came back. He was in a coma for 9 days, and then he was in a psych institution in Hartford called the Institute of Living for 6 months. Pure talk therapy. It was miraculous, the effect it had. And he came back kind of humble, filled with regret for what he'd done, and he had a renewed commitment to living. And I've come across some little things that he wrote when he was in the Institute. And so I know that he recognized it as a mistake. And I also know that my husband, if he were here, he would recognize it as a mistake, as an action he took in darkness. But
Amy, I want to pause. I want to pause right there because where you're going is somewhere that I think we all really need to hear because hindsight is 20/20, right? We can't go back in life, but I think it's important that we pick this up right after the commercial break. If you'll stay with us. Okay. Absolutely. And everybody, just kind of recapping here, we are talking to Amy B. and Carole today. It's about loss, but how do you get past that hardship, that pain? How do you find strength within yourself to still go on and live life full out? We're going to be coming right back after this break. Stay with us.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari.
There are many sounds in your day-to-day life. There are sounds that wake you up. Sounds that make you smile. Sounds that energize you. And sounds that help you relax. But there are some sounds that can alert you to danger and can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you information about severe weather events, Amber Alerts, or other emergencies in your area. With critical information from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know, wherever you are. For more information, visit ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hello, my name is Jeffrey, but people in this town call me Maniac. They call me that because I'm the fastest runner in town. But just because everyone knows who I am doesn't mean I belong. I don't really belong anywhere. You see, I'm an orphan, and I wander the streets just looking for a place that I can truly call home. My name is Maniac McGee, and I'm all alone. Explore new worlds. Read my story in the novel Maniac McGee by Jerry Spinelli. For other great book ideas, visit your local library or log on to literacy.gov. Brought to you by the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
Look for the bare necessities.
The bare necessities of healthy living are easier than you think.
You better believe it.
And the food pyramid shows you the way. With just the right amount of exercise and the necessary grains, vegetables, fruits, milk, and meats and beans.
Just the bare necessities of life.
So eat right, be active, and have fun.
Yeah, man.
For your own path to a healthier you, visit mypyramid.gov.
This is really living.
This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Ad Council.
Hi, my name is Nancy Solari, host of the Living Full Out Show. I am excited to let you know that we are now associated with Alexa. If you have Alexa in your house and you didn't know that, go ahead and find Living Full Out because you can hear us anytime you want, and we're there for you to keep you motivated. Go to your app store because we're located there as well. Just look for the Living Full Out radio show. It's important to us that we put out really inspiring programming, but we want to make sure that you have it at your fingertips when you need us most. We never know when those challenges are going to come, when we're going to feel lonely and need that motivation. So just know that when you need us, we're here for you. Check out Alexa, the app stores, or go to livingfullout.com. Here's to you living full out.
What if I could tell you that a full-blown wildfire was going to occur tomorrow right where you live? Tell you exactly which neighborhoods it would engulf and how fast it would do it. The first thing you would do is talk with your loved ones and make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a wildfire will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you make a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait, communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back to the Living Full Out Show. My name is Nancy Solari, and today we're talking about loss in all different forms. And our inspirational guest today, Amy Biancali, is no stranger to loss, having lost her husband and her sister to suicide and other heartbreaks along her journey. So I'd like to welcome Amy back to the show.
Hello, Nancy. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Amy. Thank you so much. It's a heavy topic, but you are a light in this heavy moment, okay? Because you're helping us to see how we can get through this grieving process and find that internal strength, which we're going to get to in a second. But I just want to recap on something we were talking about previously, because, you know, I know your father attempted suicide and he survived, but he had remorse for what he had done, his actions. Your husband, a larger than life personality. Of course, he would have made a different choice because he had you and your 3 kids and so much to live for. But when loss does happen and those who have passed are gone and those who are living are dealing with that grieving process, there's so much dialogue that goes into our minds. Like, could I have done something differently? I wish I had been there. Could, you know, all the woulda, coulda, shouldas. How did you quiet those voices for yourself?
That's a good question. I mean, part of it, before the break, you had asked also about not being angry. And it's all kind of part of the same ball of wax for me, because inevitably you wind up asking all the whys, all the what ifs. What if I had said this? And what if I hadn't said that? What if I'd done this? What if I hadn't done that? And what I realized is that although rationally I could accept, okay, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. Rationally, I'm going to be irrational and human. I'm going to feel these powerful surges of guilt, inevitably. And the best that I could do was to come at it, take a step back, come at my own thinking and say, my own feelings, and say, okay, the rational part of me looks at it and says, all right, you're going to be irrational about this. That's okay. You're being human. And the rational part of me at the same time says, you know you didn't really do this. And so for me to be just in that whirlwind of emotion, I just didn't have any room to be angry at the loved ones that I lost, because first of all, I knew how much they suffered. I knew that it wasn't actually really a rational choice. And I also knew there was nothing I could do about it to bring them back. Like it was done. Mm-hmm. And yes, the emotional repercussions that I was feeling had to do with my questioning, my going back and reliving everything. But ultimately, I knew that I had to accept this as part of the grieving process, and I had to accept that it wasn't really my fault. And that's the best I could do.
Yeah. I get that. And I think that phrase, "it's not my fault," is one that we can apply in many aspects of our lives, because not everything is our fault. Some things we can do better at, but not everything's our fault. And there are folks in our audience who are dealing with a loss that was more sudden, a tragic accident, or somebody's health failed. And a lot of times we grapple with the why. Why me? Why this loved one? Why now? Did you have to handle that big why question?
Oh, sure. I mean, I think that's part of the whole messy soup of emotional response to any kind of loss. Like, why did it happen? Why? I don't know. Why? You just throw up your hands. Mm-hmm. There's no, and I'm a person of faith, and so that ultimately begs some major questions, like, why did God, not answer my prayers or whatever? But it's all, again, it's like I have this. There's no answer to that question. There's no answer to any of these questions. It's just, I think it's part of being human that we ask them. And all of those questions I ask, the existential ones, the emotional ones, the ones involving blame directed at myself or the universe, shaking my fist at the universe, I know that it's not going to lead to any satisfying answers, but I also know that it would be weird if I didn't ask them. And something I've always said to my kids is, don't feel bad about feeling bad, like whatever the situation is, whether it's really mundane or, whatever. Like, and I'd say, it's enough to feel bad. Like, we don't have to layer on the feeling bad.
You know what? That's a really good point. You have to be good to yourself. You have to allow yourself to have times where you're going to be sad, and just be really sad. Let yourself have that moment. Don't try to be a superhero over that moment. And I know for you, as you were trying to find your way, here you were married and happily married, and then here you were, a widow taking care of 3 children. And as life went on, other heartbreaks came your way. You dated and it didn't work out. And I know even more recently, your son is starting to move out and you're going to be an empty nester. And it's like loss doesn't end. And it's not just a suicide loss. It could be a loss of a job. It could be anything. And so sometimes we have to take that space, that void, and fill it with something positive. And I know for you, you are filling that space with music. Most specifically, jazz music.
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
Oh yeah, I'll talk the whole duration about that if you want.
Well, I guess more specifically about the jazz, because I think this is the most important part about it. Jazz parallels your life, but how does it parallel your life?
Well, this is the thing that I realized, that I started. I'm a lifelong amateur violinist. My mother was the real deal. just probably in the last 10 or 15 years, I started getting into improvising with friends, just playing folk and rock. And then after my husband died, I said, I'm going to learn jazz violin. And it wound up being the perfect medium for me, and the parallel with everything I was going through, because it requires improvisation. And my life had gone off script, and I needed to embrace it in a way that was literally playing by ear. And also beyond that, in jazz, you play a wrong note, it doesn't end the music. You play through it, you bend it up a half step or down a step. It changes the music, but it doesn't end it. And it's been absolutely revelatory for me. It's been a huge source of joy and inspiration. It's been a way to make new friends. I'm playing different bands now. One of them is a jazz band, the other like a classic folk rock kind of band, country. And it's a joy. And I know I could go on about it, so you interrupt.
No, but you know what, though? The thing I like about that is that outlet is assisting you with giving you things to smile about, to laugh about. And it's not like you're forgetting the losses. I mean, they're very real for you, but you're channeling that into writing your own script, if there is one to be written, right? And I think we have to remember that there is hope for the future. And when we look at loss today, because again, you've encountered it, you've gone through it, what have you learned about yourself in terms of triggers that may take you back to that negative place? Do you defend and you protect yourself from not going there, or do you embrace those moments?
That's a really good question. I never really praised it to myself in terms of triggers, but I think that's ultimately what they are. I don't know. I think any loss, anything that makes me question my self-worth, which is, that's just me being human, sends me back, because it's my reflexive response is to say, if someone's mad at me, that's my fault. Or if someone, whatever, if I just had an argument with someone, that's my fault. If I just lost someone, that's my fault. And I, through it all, I keep hearing the mantra, my mother's mantra, it's not your fault, because inevitably my reflex say, well, it must be my fault. And so that's always my default is that I go back to, okay, I'm gonna kick myself in a corner for a while. But it all also, if I'm able to be self-aware, and I think ultimately that's the best anybody can do is to be self-aware, really. Then I'm able to say, okay, I'm just going to let myself feel this pain for a little while, and I know I'm going to come out the other end. And coming back to the music, that's one thing I love about making music is I can't think about anything else. It's just liberating in that sense. It's just you're in the moment, you're in the present, you're not thinking about the errors you made in the past or your fears about the future. And it's just a great way to live.
Just being in the moment. Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing we can do. We don't have a guarantee of tomorrow, and we can't go back to yesterday. We only have this moment. And Amy, as we close up today's show, we'll only have a couple seconds here left in the show, but how could someone who is, so if someone has lost someone, how could another person be of support to that person? All the people in your life, I'm sure they were coming up to you, bringing your casseroles, but how could someone have helped you and said the right thing?
That's a good question. I think just making an effort. I mean, because I think a lot of times people are afraid that they'll do the wrong thing or say the wrong thing. And what really matters is the reaching out itself. It's the effort. And because the love is in the effort, the support is in the effort, whether or not you get it right, quote unquote, whatever that is. To me, that never really mattered. And after a loss, sometimes people are stymied. They say, well, I don't know what to say, so I better not, I don't want to say the wrong thing, so I better not try to say anything. And ultimately that doesn't matter, because the person who's grieving isn't going to remember exactly what you said anyway, because they're so blindsided and they're exhausted. But they are going to remember that you reached out, and they are going to remember the love that motivated the reaching out.
Oh, that's such a good point. I'm telling you, the lessons keep on coming, Amy. You are just a wealth of love and happiness, and with all the loss that you've had, the fact that you are that person today, kudos to you. I mean, you are such a great example of what it means to live full out. So I really appreciate you being on today's show, and thank you for sharing your story with us.
Well, thank you for listening, and thanks for inviting me on.
Absolutely. Thank you, Amy. And for everybody listening, it is about overcoming those losses. We can't take them back. We can't even protect ourselves from losses. They're going to come. But we do have the ability, we have the choice to rise above them. We have the ability to turn to someone else, and whether you say the right thing or the wrong thing, it's about showing your love and support. It's about laughing when you can. And most of all, knowing that it's not your fault, that you might never get the answers that you're looking for, but it's all about moving forward and living your life full out. Stay with us. We'll be taking your calls in the next break, so it's all about overcoming those losses in our life. We'll be right back.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
The following message is about Medicaid and CHIP, free or low-cost health coverage for kids and teens. Enrollment is open year-round.
Hey, voice lady, give me the mic.
Okay.
Hey, DJ, let's switch up the music. That's better. So listen up, moms and dads out there. There are these programs called Medicaid and CHIP. They offer free or low-cost health coverage for kids. Things like doctor and dentist visits, prescriptions, and shots are covered. All the stuff that keeps kids like me healthy and in charge.
So, as you can tell, a covered kid is a confident kid. And it means confident parents, too. To learn more about affordable health coverage for your family, visit healthcare.gov or call 1-877-KIDS-NOW. That's 1-877-543-7669.
Yep, you could do something big for your family today because enrollment is open year-round.
This has been a message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
And Sophia.
They're going to jump out of trees. You can't stop them. They'll go down the slide head first. They'll make parachutes out of sheets. They'll balance on things that are impossible to balance on, like the back of a couch or a windowsill or a scooter seat. They'll run with sharp objects. They'll run into walls. They'll climb things that won't hold their weight. They'll put their fingers in places where they could get smashed. They'll drive their tricycles down steep hills. They'll bounce balls off their faces. They'll step on each other. They'll jump on each other. They'll invent whole new ways to put themselves in jeopardy. But one of the most dangerous things kids will do happens while they're sitting perfectly still. Kids who ride in a car without a booster seat are much more likely to suffer serious or fatal injury during a crash than kids in boosters. But amazingly, 80% of all kids who need them aren't in them. After a toddler seat and until they're 4'9", booster kids, and don't let them down.
Go to boosterseat.gov to learn more about the importance of boosters. A message from the U.S. Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
Have you ever lost a cat? And have you ever wanted to get your cat back after you lost it? I'm Andrew Hoffman. I invented the Lost Cat Magnet. Just turn it on and lost cats stick to it. Just listen to one satisfied cat. That's proof. You should invent stuff too. But remember, don't do a Lost Cat Magnet.
Anything's possible. Keep thinking. Get started on your own inventions or just play some games at inventnow.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, the National Inventors Hall of Fame Foundation, and the Ad Council.
We're your pets, and this song's dedicated to those people who don't have health insurance yet. Enroll, we say. We want you to be okay. Enroll, we say. Take care, people, for goodness sake.
Health insurance is now affordable.
covers prescriptions, hospitalizations, and preventive care. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn more.
And take care, people.
Brought to you by Get Covered America and the Ad Council.
When it comes to managing a loss, it isn't about rushing through the grieving process. If you need to cry, cry big. When you're laughing and you're having a nervous moment, laugh aloud. It's about letting yourself be human, feeling it through. But on the other side, know that you are strong. You can get past the loss and live your life full out. It's not about forgetting. It's about remembering and loving.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. Nancy is here as a guide to show you how to rise above obstacles and savor each moment. If you have a question, call in live at 800-333-0001. That's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Thank you again for joining us today. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out show. And I know we've been dealing with a heavy topic today, and some of us might have been emotionally triggered by this and may feel sad or, reflecting on that loss all over again. But it's really important for you to know that you're not alone. This Living Full Out community, those friends and family in your life, I promise you, you pick up the phone right now and want to talk to them, they will answer. We will always answer. So it's really about just allowing yourself to just be in the moment. So if you are going to have a day today where you're reflecting and you're sad, or maybe you're laughing because you're remembering a funny moment with someone you've lost, allow yourself to have an hour, a half a day. Don't take it into the entire day, because on the other side, your family and friends that are no longer with you, they want you to live. They want you to embrace life in a big way. So you have to go out there and laugh loud, live large. That's what it means to live full out. Now, I'm getting word from our producer that we do have a caller on the line. We're going to go say hello to them. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out show.
Hi.
Hi, thank you for calling in. How can I help you today?
I've been in a relationship with my girlfriend for 3 years, and I won't a long distance relationship, and I won't be able to see her for another year and a half. And I just wanted to know, how are we going to be together to keep our relationship strong?
You love her?
Yes.
You want a future with her?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I just want to assess that first, because sometimes people are long distance relationships and they're still trying to figure it out. Here's what I want you to do. You know how long you're going to be gone. And do you know how often you'll be able to either talk to her on the phone or see her?
I can talk to her on the phone every day. See her probably during holidays.
Okay, probably during holidays. Okay. So plan out, if you can, take a calendar, plan out the times when you think you might be able to call her. Maybe it's not every day, maybe it's every other day, so you can get any kind of a scoop on what that's going to be. Okay? Then, of course, you're going to see her on the holidays, so we know that. All the other gaps of time, I want you to plan out little things that you can do and give her in advance. So maybe you write a couple love letters, and on the outside of the envelope, you date it. Open it on this date. Okay? Doesn't have to mean that it's something super timely, but maybe in that letter, you reflect on a memory, a moment that you and her had together. Or maybe in that letter, you just tell her how proud you are of her. Okay? What you can also do is create a video or two. Record them in advance. And if you have access to email later on throughout this year and a half, then you just have them ready to go and you can just email them to her. You might even go find a present, a gift, and trust it in giving it to a friend, wrap it up, give it to a friend, and say, I would like you to give this to her on such and such date. Or I'd like you to give this to her the week of such and such, right? And the funny thing is, she will get these letters. She will get these gifts, and it will bring her joy, but she will also know just how much you loved her, because that takes some advanced thinking, right? How romantic is that?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Right? Is that something you can do?
Yes, I can.
And that's what's going to keep your love alive, Because it isn't that you have to see someone every day to show your love. It isn't that you even have to talk to them every day to show their love. It's all about diversifying how you tell her. A letter, a video, even a Post-it note. You could just take about 20 Post-it notes and put them all over in random places that she might find throughout the year and write a little message on it. Even that would be fun. But I think if you really think about it, sky's the limit. You can't go overboard because us women, we love that stuff. Okay? So go out there, have fun, love her with all your heart, and I know you guys will be great. Okay?
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I love that he asked that question because the thing is, he's looking at the future like, I don't want to lose time with her. I don't want her to forget me. I want her to know how much I love her. If we plan ahead, sometimes we have the ability to really live full out, not just giving our own love away, but letting someone feel that love. And as we wrap up today's show, as we tell loss, listen, I realize you're going to come. I know I can't prevent you from coming in my life. You want to quantify loss and say, you know what? When it happens, I'm going to cry. I'm going to be sad. I'm going to let myself have some time to grieve, but I'm not going to give it my entire life. I'm not going to let loss suck away the joy from all the people that are with me today. Quantify a loss, feel it, and then let it go. And then you want to look at today, being in this moment. Spend as much time as you can with people. Tell them you love them. Do things that make you happy. And then when you look at the future, live large, plan big. Find ways in which you can really live your life in a big way. Our entire Living Full Out family is here each week to guide you and support you, and just know that I believe in you. If you want to hear today's show, again, go to livingfullout.com. Check us out on Alexa. You can go to the app stores, you name it. It's all about living your life full out. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.
Thank you for listening to the Living Full Out Show with Nancy Solari. To learn more about this program, visit livingfullout.com for the latest episodes. Connect with the Living Full Out community by following us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you have an inspirational story you want to share, email us at connect@livingfullout.com. Here's to you, Living Full Out.